Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now, enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This week on the show, we're headed back out on the big water of the Chesapeake Bay in search of trophy rockfish. And for one person aboard this boat, reeling one in is a long-awaited personal milestone. Plus, some of the world's best are in Ocean City, Maryland to show off their wildfowl-inspired arts. But if you think these decoys are purely decorative, you'd be wrong. We'll go behind the scenes to see how these functional pieces are judged. And we've got a preview of a special episode coming up as we head out on all sorts of adventures, highlighting the work of Delaware's Fish and Wildlife Agency.
Right now on Outdoors Delmarva.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. And now, here's Mike Parker.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker. We'll be checking in with my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, in just about a minute or so here. Well, once again, we're starting things off out here on the big water of the Chesapeake Bay, trying to give you as much coverage as we can of this Maryland Trophy rockfish season from the start all the way to the end in mid-May. Well, I find myself right now aboard the Fishing Time with Captain Greg Bedsworth and a great group of anglers departing out of the Deal Island area this morning. Headed a little bit north up the bay, trying to find those fish. Got the planer boards out, about a dozen or so rods. Now we've just got our fingers crossed. I'll tell you what, we're just getting started here as the clouds are kind of clearing out of this area. But right now, though, I want to send it out to my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, who's on another boat a little bit further up the bay. And Willie, I understand this trophy rock fishing trip, kind of a personal milestone for you.
That's right, Mike. We're right here in front of the fish magnet here at Goody's Marine in Golden Hill, Maryland. We just got finished a trophy rockfish trip out on Chesapeake Bay, and we're going to rewind it for you right now.
I actually passed a few personal milestones on this trip. First of all, I had never been on the bay in such rough weather as we experienced this spring morning. It was like something out of the movie, A Perfect Storm.
The wind's out of the west this morning, so over on that western side, the channel's going to be a lot better than it is right here. Coming out the eastern side, out of the Humber River here, we're getting the wind right on the chin right now.
As our eyes became adjusted to the light, we realized that we had quite a crowd on board the fish magnet. Some 11 anglers in all, not including me and Chopper Chuck or Captain Phil Goody and his mate. As I got acquainted with the crew, I found out that I'd be witnessing another milestone. One lucky man aboard would be catching his very first trophy-sized rockfish. And it wasn't long before the first strike. The first man hauls away, and as you can see by the dip on the rod from our head cam, this is no minnow.
Nice fish.
Yeah. Even with the rough weather, the crew is pumped up, and this has all the earmarks of a terrific day on the water.
Fish number 2 on after about 30 minutes of cruising around. We got one on. Yeah, looks like a nice one, too.
That line was fishing 30 foot down. A lot of bait there, so you know those fish are mixed, those stripers are mixed right in with the bait.
Pretty fish. Now I'm warmed up.
And we're just getting warmed up too, because suddenly it's rock 3.
There he is, fish on, fish on, fish on. Come on, Bernie.
Might have dinner. The more they come, the better they look. That was another really beautiful fish. And all of a sudden, just about the time we were all going to go to sleep, it's gotten a real western around here.
Reeling in fish number 4 practically knocks this fella's hat off. Okay, so maybe it's the wind, but I'm willing to lend a hand. there will, of course, be a small fee for my services. Chopper Chuck gives us a unique perspective on Fish 5 because he's got our underwater camera attached to a pole. And just like that, we're about halfway to limiting out. But who's the lucky fellow who's going to snag his first rock? It's not the next two anglers who strike fish simultaneously.
Well done.
One after another, we reel in the fish.
Got every fish on board so far, and haven't lost a single fisherman, so it works just right.
And then the last angler, an Eastern Shore native who has traveled the world and flown over the ends of the earth, gets a chance to reel in his very first ever rockfish. And I promised you that I'd be witnessing his very first rock because I just happened to be wearing the head cam.
Get it. First one? Okay. We got to cheer him on then.
He must be out there.
You got it. You got it.
Might not have volunteered if I knew it was going to be this much work.
You're doing great. You got
it. First rockfish ever in my whole life. That was a beautiful thing.
Took him a little while, but he got her in.
Critic. Everybody's a critic.
That's right. Get out more, Delmarva!
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, some of the world's best are in Ocean City, Maryland, where this wildfowl-inspired art has to be functional too. But first, did you know? The largest freshwater tributary to the Chesapeake Bay is the Susquehanna River to the north. On average, how many gallons of water enter the bay from the Susquehanna each minute? Is it 12 million, 19 million, or 31 million gallons? The answer when we come back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Goodies Marine. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
Did you know? The Susquehanna River is the largest freshwater tributary to the Chesapeake Bay, on average delivering 19 million gallons of fresh water per minute.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
Well, we're back here out on the Chesapeake Bay aboard the Fishin' Time with a great group of anglers, and I'll tell you what, although you can tell the sun came out a little bit, made it a little bit more pleasant for us to be out here fishing all day. The fishing hasn't exactly been hot and heavy. You can take a look. We did have some luck early on, and we were fortunate enough to have some ladies aboard, so of course they were first in line when the lines got bit. We hauled in two beautiful trophy rockfish.
Get nice and slimy.
Yeah, that was nice. That was awesome. Yeah, it was a good fight. Strong. Fat. Yeah.
Can you believe how big it is?
Handle it.
So as we rebait here and continue our troll out here on the Chesapeake Bay, I did want to tell you about another big event that happened over on the other side of the peninsula, the Ward World Championships over in Ocean City, Maryland this past weekend. And this event brings in some of the best artists for wood carving and sculpture from across the whole world and really takes wildfowl art to a new level. But if you think some of these decoys are purely decorative, well, you'd be wrong. In fact, they have to be fairly functional as well. And at Outdoors Delmarva, we got a behind-the-scenes look and how they're judged.
Tens of thousands flock every year to the Ward World Championship Wildfowl Carving Competition and Art Festival in Ocean City, Maryland. This exhibition, now in its 42nd year, draws people from all over the globe. But some visitors might wonder why this particular table is empty. Well, that's because these works of art are, well, a little bit busy at the moment. Only a handful ever get the chance to witness a judging event that takes place outside the venue on today's choppy surface of the Isle of White Bay. This is where the rubber meets the road, or where art meets functionality. You know, birds of a feather.
Well, what we're looking at today is a hunting decoy, a decoy that you're going to actually take out and use in hunting situations. So you're looking for stability in the water, and of course this kind of water we're in today is going to test their stability.
It'll probably be a bird that's a little wide, maybe a little oversized with the chop on the water, and you'll want a little weight to keep the bird with a low center of gravity. The more the bird rolls, it takes away from the natural look of the bird.
I use cork. I use a cork for the bodies and a Tupelo for the heads. They have to look nice up close and from far away. So it's mostly projection and floating.
The rules for judging the Lemon Steve Ward Gunning Pairs competition is rather simple. Most importantly, these works of art must be functional to the point that they could be used for actual hunting. All entries must be able to self-right in the water, and simplicity in painting and minimal carving techniques are to be used.
Okay.
Each gunning pair must consist of one drake and one hen of the same species.
I've been doing it since 2004 when I was 10, and right now I'm 19 and I've been doing it for a while. Starting off with a block and ending with a beautiful piece of artwork, using them hunting, going out hunting with them, watching birds go into your decoys, and competition, love the competition, the thrill, and being able to nail it, meet these nice people at the contests, and being able to travel with the hunting and the contests. It's phenomenal, phenomenal.
In the end, just staying afloat on today's rough conditions makes winners of all of the competitors. But in a world where beauty and ruggedness meet, these birds can truly hunt.
It's functional art. It's a working tool, really.
Get outdoors, Delmarva. Get outdoors, Delmarva.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, the state of Delaware is filled with outdoor opportunities, and it takes a versatile agency to manage it all. We're working on a special upcoming episode, and we'll have a preview.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Yeah, basic deer stand. Obviously, they've taken a little bit of time to paint it up and camo it a little bit.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker, and we continue trolling out here on the Chesapeake Bay this afternoon, still in search of some more of those trophy rockfish. Haven't quite caught our limit yet, but as we continue, I wanted to tell you about something that's coming up next week here on the show. And for the past couple of weeks, we've been teaming up with our friends over at DNREC in the Division of Fish and Wildlife. That agency recently celebrated its 100th anniversary. Of course, they do all sorts of activities throughout the year that enhance our hunting and fishing experiences. And here's a little sneak preview of what's coming up next week.
Throughout dozens of episodes of Outdoors Delmarva over the past 2 years, we've shared so many adventures in the state of Delaware. From bagging big gobblers in the spring turkey season to some of the country's best wing shooting, including migratory dove hunts and, of course, coastal waterfowl hunting that rivals that of any other state in the nation. For the avid angler and boater, the first state is a destination for both fun in the surf and experiencing the big open waters of the Delaware Bay and beyond. So when it comes to managing all of those outdoor opportunities in one small state, it takes a diverse agency to get the job done. And that agency, DNREC, recently celebrated its 100th anniversary. So coming up next week on Outdoors Delmarva, we're shining the spotlight on DNREC and its Division of Fish and Wildlife. For starters, we'll head out on the incredible research vessel known as the First State. This high-tech tank on water is fitted with the gear that allows biologists to conduct regular trawl surveys, casting a wide net, and scooping up samples of native fish and aquatic species. We'll see how and why it's so important to both fishermen and the health of the bay. Then some might be obsessed with wood ducks themselves, but there's another species that often takes advantage of the habitat we've provided for them. We'll head into the woods in search of the tiny screech owls that take up residence in these wooden duck boxes in the off-season. We'll also take a cruise with a Denrec Fish and Wildlife Enforcement agent and learn how these officers are looking to keep order and safety out on the water. And in the shadow of the new Indian River Inlet Bridge, it's just a reminder of how vital infrastructure is to providing us access to so many outdoor opportunities. We'll head to Kent County to see the project that'll keep boaters and anglers out on the water for decades to come. And we'll take a tour of one of the hidden gems of Sussex County, a wildlife refuge that also provides free hunting and fishing opportunities. And an elevated view of Delaware's coastal bays is just a short climb up. So join us as we shine the spotlight on Denrec, look back on what's made this agency work in its first 100 years and what's to come in the next century. It's a special episode next week on Outdoors Delmarva. Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, we'll check in with an old friend. You won't want to miss this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Scorchy's Corner Classics are sponsored by Hook 'em and Cook 'em Outfitters.
Good dog.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. And now it's time to check in with an old friend. Here's this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Good boy. Good boy.
The Rottweiler did not just arrive on the canine scene. Dog history tells us the ancient Roman armies used them as both guard and cattle dogs almost 2,000 years ago. Today, 10 centuries later, the Rottweiler's star is still shining, due mainly to breeders who care.
Our breeding aims is to come out with the best Rottweiler we can for the standard. The temperament's very important on a Rottie.
That's what our goal is. We're trying to be one of the best Rottweiler kennels on the East Coast.
Chris and Susan Brundle own Broad Creek Kennels near Laurel. They started with Rottweilers 12 years ago and now are closing in on their aims and goals.
We purchased our foundation stud 6 years ago, and so that's pretty much when we got into breeding. His grandfather is very famous. His name is Champion Radio Ranch's Axel Von Natara, and he won Westminster, and he sired more champions than any other sire in the breed.
Does he have a nickname?
Rocky.
The Rottweiler is a big dog. Females ranging from 85 to 110 pounds, males from 100 to 150 pounds. Breeding for temperament is very important. The Brundles are proud of the breeding program they have established.
Our 11-month-old puppy just took first place puppy at Old Dominion, which is the second largest show in the United States.
Which says much for the lovable Rottweilers of Broad Creek Kennels.
Good dog.
Scorchy Taws wandering our Delmarvelous land for WBOC News.
If you've got an upcoming adventure here on Delmarva or beyond, we want to see it. Whether it's a fishing or hunting trip or going camping or hiking with a community group or friends, let us know, and we can put the Viewer Venture Cam in your hands.
Say hi to WBOC, Jeff.
Captain Willie and Mike, thank you.
Got an idea? Email Mike at mparker@wboc.com. It's the Outdoors Delmarva Viewer Venture Cam. You shoot it, we'll show it.
Outdoors Delmarva.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, we'll head back out on the Chesapeake one last time to wrap up our trip aboard the Fishing Time. Plus, your latest viewer videos and pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by Shorts Marine. This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru, Higher Standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Goody's Marine.
What we do is we troll over these schools of fish and we watch this depth finder for big red marks. We'll go over these big schools of fish, turn real sharp, and drop our bait down to them, and hopefully we hook up.
All right, everybody, well, here we go. We had a great time out on the Chesapeake Bay this afternoon. I want to thank my friend Captain Greg Bedsworth for inviting me along out on the fishing time. Take a look at this. We didn't quite limit out, but boy, oh boy, did we have a good time, and some lucky anglers, and some of these folks, first-time trophy rockfish catchers, I guess I'll call you. In the meantime, this is a pretty picture, but let's take a look at some of those videos and pictures sent in by our own Outdoors Delmarva viewers.
Cody Bratton from Whaleyville, Maryland, joins our list of successful spring turkey hunters. This 16-year-old harvested this gobbler last weekend near his house. The bird weighed in at 21 pounds, had a 10.5-inch beard, and 1-inch spurs. Richie Wells from Laurel, Delaware, has been out in search of trophy rock. He sent in this shot of a 39-incher he caught recently. Great fishing. Nikki Lowe sent in this shot of a turkey that she harvested in Delmar, Delaware. This bird weighed just over 19 pounds and had 2 beards, one 11 inches, the other 7 inches long. And Al Wright from Harrington shared a picture of a recent trip down south to Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. And why not? If they're pulling in red drum like this one off the surf in mid-April, we'd like to be there too.
All right, and I want to remind everybody that coming up next week, we've got a special episode of Outdoors Delmarva where we're going to help celebrate the recent 100th anniversary of Denrec's Division of Fish and Wildlife. A lot of neat features coming up that you won't want to miss. Until then, though, we're out here on the Chesapeake Bay, and I guess we'll send it home from here. For my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Mike Parker, reminding you, everybody, to get outdoors, Delmarva.